Well, this morning's Russian papers focus on Donald Trump's apparent frustration with Moscow. Kommersant's headline is a play on words from the gambling phrase double or quits. In Russian, pan ili propal. Here, it's Trump ili propal, Donald or quits. A series of big statements by the White House chief, who said he is very angry at Vladimir Putin's idea for external governance in Ukraine and who threatens secondary sanctions on Russian oil if peace moves are too slow, are his strongest attacks on Moscow since his return to the White House. The headline in Moskovsky Komsomolets, Trump in a temper. The US president threatens Russia with unprecedented sanctions, but the paper thinks he's bluffing. The threat of secondary sanctions is very serious, of course, but you must ask yourself why the previous US administration didn't impose them. Was it because Biden, unlike Trump, was a decent human being who didn't go overboard? Of course not. It's just that the Biden administration knew very well that removing Russian oil from the market would raise the oil price by 10 to 15%. And American voters would have to fill their cars with expensive petrol from this expensive oil, while Ukraine was somewhere over there in Europe. A man in a temper, especially an American president, is capable of many dumb things, but not of damaging his own country. The fact that Trump is in a temper, it's all part of the script. He's the president of the world, the supreme judge, whatever that may mean. In Komsomolskaya Pravda, political scientist Dmitry Symes worries that people around Donald Trump will turn him against Russia. Many people in his entourage are former neocons, like Secretary of State Marco Rubio. That's what they call people in the US who want their country to achieve absolute military supremacy over all rivals. Neocons were always aggressive towards Russia. Now, these individuals are loyal to Trump, but it can't be ruled out that under pressure from American globalists and the European Union, they will try to turn the president against Russia. Nezavismaya Gazeta. Trump cautiously increases the pressure on Russia. The White House is growing increasingly disillusioned with how dialogue with Russia is going. Meanwhile, Izvestia hints at some of the sanctions Moscow would like removed in the aviation industry. The US is withholding $500 million worth of aircraft spare parts bought by Russia. Moscow is keen for this supply to be unblocked. Russia's Minister for Trade and Industry, Anton Alkhanov, told Izvestia. Russia is also ready to seek official recognition for repairs done by Russian companies to Airbus and Boeing aircraft during sanctions. Izvestia also reports on a proposal in Russia to introduce state regulation of potato prices. Since the beginning of the year, the price of potatoes has risen by 24%. In 2024, potato prices rose by 92%. And staying with the Russian economy, Moskovsky Komsomolets reports that Russians are complaining more and more at not being paid. Last year saw not only an active rise in wages, but an equally large rise in complaints by people not getting their salaries. According to the Federal and Labour Employment Service, in 2024, the number of such complaints rose by 37.4%. In other words, while some Russians are ecstatic at their rise in income, others survive on a shoestring, waiting for their employers to deign to pay them for their work.